Well, thank you, Matthew, for coming to the interview. We're going to ask you a few questions, and feel free to give a short or as in-depth answer as you'd like. So, you've been the Mayor of Newport?
I have indeed. Yeah.
And that was quite recently?
Yeah, I was Mayor last year. In Newport it's purely based on longest serving councillor who hasn't been Mayor, and I've been a councillor since 1999. During that time I've been Leader of the Opposition for about 7 or 8 years. I've been Mayor and I've been Leader of the Council for 4 years, so quite a long time in local politics.
So what initiated an interest in politics?
Very parochial actually. I used to run my own small business. My daughters went to a nursery school in Newport called Bainswell Nursery, and the council at the time, which was 46 Labour and 1 Conservative, decided they wanted to close the nursery school. And the more I looked into it and the reasons behind it, the more I got annoyed and frustrated, and then I approached some of my local councillors, and they said, well, if you don't like it, you can always stand against. So it was very much a question of, right, just done my business. I was in that right place at the right time, and I said, well, I will. I'll stand up and support it. So I've never been a career politician.
One of the important issues that people consider at the times of election is the economy. Is there anything that you would like to see happen in the local economy or the national economy?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, we've been through difficult times. Locally, Newport has suffered more than most cities, but I think the future for Newport is looking good. Any national government who was in charge would have to deal with austerity. We can only look at countries like France and Greece who said, well, we don't need any austerity, to see what sort of mess they make. I think things are on the up, and I'd like to see more emphasis on small businesses, because I think small businesses are the lifeblood of the economy, and certainly in Newport, clearly the nationals will be welcome, and the national restaurant chains, but the more local businesses we have, making better use of the market, for instance, I think is an integral part of the local economy.
Looking at the national environment of politics, do you think Wales would follow Scotland in becoming a more of a one-party state or country? And do you think nationalism, Welsh nationalism, could be something that would increase?
No, I think we're totally different from the Scottish, actually. I think Scotland in the past, I mean for centuries really, has been a massive rivalry, different laws, institutions. Personally, I don't think Wales is big enough. We've got a population of just over 3 million. London's got a population of 9 million. And I think the nationalist answer for an independent Wales has never really materialised. Leanne Wood got masses of publicity when it came to the general election, yet Plaid Cymru made no inroads at all. I'm sure they'll do better at the Welsh Assembly elections, just like UKIP will do better in European elections than any other one. But I don't think, and certainly in Newport, I've never seen any strong sort of sense of wanting to become an independent state.
If a business can be seen as having a unique selling point, do you think the Conservative Party of Wales is unique in any way? And you as a politician, what would make you stand out or different from all the other politicians, especially those running for the Welsh Assembly government?
Well, I think my unique selling points is, firstly, I've run my own business, so I've got a business background, and I've never been a career politician. And I think too many people go straight from university and don't really experience the real world. I think my first job in the Wimpy Bar in Newport many years ago in Austin Friars taught me a lot of life skills, and I think from that perspective people need to appreciate the world away from the political bubble. I've never really been a conformist. Sometimes I'll disagree with my own party over things. I think it's important that you recognise what you've done. As I say, I've been a local politician for virtually 16 years. I'd like to think when I was leader of the council, and I was the first non-leader since I think Harold Wilson was Prime Minister, that we made a lot of changes, which we still had to cut our budgets by £40 million, but we introduced a one-stop shop and information centre. We brought buses back down the high street, got rid of some of the, what I'd like to call inefficient bus lanes, introduced 2 hours free parking. We had events like Super Dragons, we introduced the first food festival, we got Admiral into the city centre, and we were the ones who brought Friars Walk into the city centre. And that's a few I can just name off the top of my head. So I think it's important that people can judge me on my track record of what I've actually done and achieved when I was leader of the council.
Immigration is a major topic of discussion. It brings out different opinions from different people. Newport is quite a multicultural environment. There's a lot of people from different walks of life here in the city of Newport. What is your opinion on people who come from overseas to live and to work in Newport? Do you think we need more people, or do you think that there should be less people in the UK?
Well, my personal view is we should look at some sort of potential quota system. I realise we can't do that at the moment, and I think the Australian model is very good. In the past, it's been a fairly taboo subject, and people haven't wished to talk about it openly, and I've been one who's always stood up and said, well, actually, we need people to integrate. We need to ensure that people come over here, respect our views and our culture, and integrate. And what's happened in the past is we've almost gone the other way, and sometimes sort of bent over backwards to accommodate people, and at the same time certain sort of areas, what I would like to class as sort of white working class areas, for instance like Bettis, I think there's been a lot of ill feeling, and we haven't done very well on integration, and I think we need to take a long hard look of how we can integrate people properly into the community. And I think everybody who comes over here should be able to speak the language, and whether that's Conservative policy or not, I'm not sure, but those are my personal views.
Although Newport is an inner city area, we have Wales generally, and that is far more of a rural location, and we have many people interested in field sports, hunting, fishing and shooting, and these people say that this is important to the economy of the country. What is your view? What is your view on the hunting ban? Do you believe that fox hunting is a good or a bad thing? And what do you think of the legal ownership of handguns for sport?
Okay, I mean personally, I'd like to say I'm an urbanist. I've always lived in towns and cities, and this is where I think the views of the farmers and the rural communities should be given a strong voice, because it's not something that fox hunting is not something which I'm keen on. But then I live in a city, and it's not such a big issue, and I can understand there are strong views on both sides. And I think there was a documentary on which features some people from Newport, and some were very pro foxes and some were very anti foxes. Personally, like I said, it's not my cup of tea, but then if I was a farmer, I'd probably have a totally different opinion.
Some people claim that the object of life, of being alive, is to have fun. Can you be a politician and have fun while being a politician?
Absolutely, and I think you should do. And I think one of the problems is when you do have fun, it's something that the media tend to pick up on. But no, absolutely, I think. I mean, certainly when I was mayor, I went to about, I think I did almost 350 public engagements across the city, and every one I would say I enjoyed. Obviously some were more enjoyable than others, but it's like life, it's what you make of it. You're there to have fun. If you look on my Twitter account, you'll see that I usually have Wine Wednesdays, and quite often people will be more interested in that than actually talking about politics. And that's, I think, something which some politicians need to sort of understand, that people are, we're human. Well, as human as you can expect. I know we've got a reputation as bad as sort of bankers, and probably on a similar level as journalists, but I think you know, you need to be yourself. You need to ensure that your views, as much as possible, are consistent. And sometimes that will mean that I will disagree with my party, but my aim is obviously to put the residents of Newport's views first.
If there was a Conservative majority in the Welsh Assembly government based in Cardiff, how would that change Wales?
Well, first of all, I think the voting system is and the PR element is in such a manifests its wealth in such a way that actually no party is likely to ever get an overall majority. I think the best that the Welsh Conservatives can hope for would be a coalition. I ran a coalition with the Lib Dems for 4 years in Newport, and they can work, and obviously there are going to be areas where you'll disagree and you can't get everything you want. So I think the way it's worked out is that we will have more sort of coalitions. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is open to quite a long debate, I think.
You just mentioned that many people have a very negative view of certain groups of society, like the bankers, journalists and indeed politicians. The comedian and political activist Russell Brand apparently discourages people from voting at all because he feels that no one is really worthy of our confidence. Why would he be wrong in your case?
Well, I don't think particularly highly of Russell Brand as a person in any case. What I will say to people is ultimately, when I'm knocking on the doors, and I've been doing it for 16, 17 years, you're going to get somebody whether you like it or not. And what you've got to decide is who's the lesser of two or three evils. And I think it's important that people do go out and vote. Sadly, there has been a lot of disillusionment in politics. And I think politicians do need to try and find new ways of encouraging people to vote. But ultimately, whether 5 people vote or 20,000 people vote, you know, somebody's going to get in, and I think it's just part of the democratic process.
So if the audience to this wanted to learn more about the Welsh Conservative Party, or indeed more about you specifically, because you're running for the Welsh Assembly government in Newport West.
That's right.
How would they contact you, or how would they find more information?
Well, a number of ways really. They can follow me at Matthew Evans NPT on Twitter. I'm a big advocate of social media. You only have to Google me for my background. I was first mayor, I think, certainly on city basis in Wales, who had a Mayor of Newport Twitter account. You can contact the local Newport West Conservative Association on Newport 214211. Welsh Conservatives have their own website, Newport Conservatives have their own website. So it shouldn't be too difficult to contact me. I'm a local councillor in Alterine, and my email address is on the City Council website.
To conclude, is there anything else that you would like to say?
I think from a personal point of view, I would like to say that you know, I have a lot of experience. I've stood in Newport East, I stood in Newport West, last time was in 2007, where I reduced Labour's majority down to 1,400. I haven't stood since, and people ask me that because I was leader of the council and wanted to concentrate on doing the one job, and then I was mayor for the parliamentary. Again, I wanted to concentrate on the one job. When I do something, I want to do it properly and devote all my time to it. I think it's time for change in Newport West. We've had Labour have been running, or in my case, I think, ruining the Assembly since 1999. And I think there's a general feeling now that it's a time for change. And I'm hoping that people will vote for me for that reason. I'm very keen on watching the Newport Gwent Dragons. People will see me around in all different community events across the city. And I'm just hoping that will be enough to win. I'm not expecting to win necessarily, but I think if you were a gambling man, it will be worth an outside bet.